When substances P and Q react together to form substances R, an equilibrium is established according to the equation. So we can see P, which is a gas, reacts with Q in a reversible reaction to produce 2R, which is also a gas. So 2 moles in the left hand side produces 2 moles on the right hand side. The equilibrium constant expression is Kc. So the Kc is already given to us because there are 2 moles of R on the right hand side. So it is R concentration to the power of 2 over P concentration multiplied by Q concentration. 1 mole of P and 1 mole of Q were mixed in a container with the volume 1 dm cube. So whenever the container is 1 dm cube, it's actually a benefit for us because the starting concentration is 1 mole per dm cube for both P and Q. At equilibrium, X moles of P had reacted. So considering that, so we started with initial, let's make it a little bit bigger, with 1 mole per dm cube, 1 mole per dm cube. And at equilibrium, we have 1 minus X, 1 minus X. And on the other side, we will have 2x. The amount in moles of each P and Q at equilibrium is 1 minus x. Deduce in terms of x the amount in moles of R in the equilibrium mixture. So we already got that answer. If x disappears from left hand side, x causes double the quantity on the other side. So it will be 2x. Mole of R is equals to 2x. At 298 Kelvin, the value of equilibrium constant Kc is 3.6. Calculate the value for the equilibrium concentration in mole per dm cube of R. Now, because we already have the Kc equation, so let's copy it down. Now, we will replace each of the values that we have. Kc has a value of 3.6. R squared has a value of 2x, which will then be squared. P has a value of 1 minus x. Q also has a value of 1 minus x. Now, this is turning into an algebraic equation. So, since we can write this down as 3.6 is equals to 2x squared, and at the bottom it is 1 minus x whole square, we can square root both sides. We will square root both sides. We will get 0.6, sorry, 1.9. 3.6 square root will be 1.9. And on the other side, we are going to get 2x over 1 minus x. Now, if we bring the 1 minus x in this side and do cross multiplication, it becomes 1.9 minus 1.9x equals to 2x. So we can bring the 1.9x negative from left hand side to the other side. So we can add 1.9x in both sides. This leaves us with 3.9x on one side, and in the other side, we will have this cancelled out. So it will become 3.9x is equals to 1.9, which will give us a value x is equals to 1.9 over 3.9 equals to 0.49. So R has a concentration of 2x. R is equals to 2x. And since x is equals to 0.49, so it will be 2 times 0.49, which is equals to 0.97. 0.97 or 0. So the answer is 0.98 mole per dm cube. Question 5. This question is about intermolecular forces. Give the meaning of the term electronegativity. So basically, in a bonding electron, for example, hydrogen and chloride, chlorine has a upper edge in terms of the bonding electron being close towards itself, meaning it can pull the bonding electron towards itself, thereby making it partially negative and the hydrogen partially positive. So we can define electronegativity such that it is the power of an atom to attract a pair of electrons in a covalent bond. Explain how permanent dipole dipole forces arise between hydrogen chloride molecules. Now, guys, as we discussed already, when the hydrogen and the chlorine bonds together, because the chlorine is on the right hand side of the periodic table, it has more electronegativity compared to that of hydrogen. The electronegativity value of chlorine is higher. So chlorine pulls this electron, bonding electron, more towards itself, making it partially negative and making the hydrogen partially positive. So the 2 points is we will write is there is difference in electronegativity which leads to bond polarity. And the dipoles don't cancel the molecule. So guys, we can describe this because the hydrogen and the chlorine takes in the bonding electron more towards itself due to its high electronegativity. So we can say the difference in electronegativity in hydrogen and chlorine leads to bond polarity. And these polar bonds that the dipoles that it makes, it doesn't cancel out. It doesn't cancel out. The molecule has an overall permanent dipole, and there is an attraction between partially positive on one molecule and partially negative on another molecule, which gives rise to the dipole-dipole forces between hydrogen chloride. Complete table 4 by naming the shapes of each molecule. Place a tick in the final column if the molecule has a permanent dipole. SiH4 is tetrahedral because silicon is single covalently bonded with 4 hydrogen. So this gives 4 bonding group. First of all, we can say there are 4 electron group. Out of that, there are 4 bonding group and there are 0 lone pairs. And this would make the bond angle 109.5. And since they have a equal pull, even though the individual bonds are polar, but they have an equal pull in all different sides, the molecule will be non-polar. So if give a tick if the molecule has permanent dipole, well, it doesn't have a permanent dipole. So we don't have to give a cross. We'll just leave it come. pH3. The molecule pH3 is pyramidal. Now, let's see the molecule pH3. Molecule pH3, phosphorus belongs to group 5. So it has 5 electrons in the outer shell. So one of the hydrogen bonds, like if we have to show it like a three-legged pyramid with a lone pair on top. So as you can see, there are 4 electron group. Out of the 3 is bonding group and 0 is one lone pair is present. Now, lone pair decreases bond angle by 2.5. So the bond angle will be 107. So pH3, the shape of the molecule will be pyramidal. And since it will be pyramidal and hydrogen and phosphorus is the differences in electronegativity, so the molecule is likely to be positive in this side and negative in this side. So this will be having a permanent dipole. Next, the molecule BeCl2. Beryllium belongs to group 2 and it has 2 electrons in the outer shell. When chlorine bonds with it, it produces a linear and with a bond angle of 180-degree structure. Even though this individual bond is, uh, uh, it is, there is a differences in electronegativity there, and it is polar. Individual bonds are polar. However, there is like a tug of war between these two molecules in two sides, which would cancel out its total molecules dipole. There will not be any permanent dipole, considering that the beryllium is partially positive and it's equally partially negative in both sides, which would cancel out the overall permanent dipole. So the molecule will be linear. There will not be any permanent dipole. With the CH3Cl, again it is tetrahedral. We can consider the 3 hydrogens in this side and we can consider the chlorine to be here. Now chlorine is more electronegative than carbon than hydrogen. So considering that, this tip would be partially negative and the bottom portion will be partially positive, the molecule will be tetrahedral, but in this case, it will be having a permanent dipole. Since only this particular bond, which has the highest electronegativity in chlorine,